Today, we have the great Baldwin English, who is the External Affairs Manager for Florida Power and Light, FP&L. You all know FP&L, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, Baldwin.
Thank you. I take issue with the great, but I receive everything else. Yeah.
You are great. Baldwin is very humble, but he also used to be the chair of the Chamber South.
Yes. Yeah.
And did a tremendous job with that.
I was fortunate because we were coming out of COVID, so a lot of growth happened during that time. So just timing, but I'm happy to just be a part of the chamber.
Awesome. So tell us what's interesting and new at FP&L right now.
What's interesting and new at FPL? Well, I will say that we are in the process of completing our third major solar installation in Miami-Dade County. So this one is a little bit further south outside of our Chamber South territory, getting closer into the Redlands area, but when that one is completed, we would have had established or installed and have online by the first quarter of next year, nearly 1 million solar panels in Miami-Dade County, right? So it's on land that is, we're trying to coexist as much as possible with some of the agriculture that's there. What's great is that in 20 years, or whenever we're done with that, we can pull up the stakes and there's no mitigation that needs to occur. The land can return back to its primitive state before. And it's been great. So we're continuing to increase solar, not just here in Miami-Dade, but throughout our territory as part of our 30 by 30 program. All right. So it's 30 million solar panels in the state of Florida by 2030. And I think we're a few years ahead of that. I think we'll hit the 30 million probably in the next 2 years. So we're very excited about that growth of our clean energy profile.
That's awesome. So what does that mean for everyday homeowners or energy users?
So on our bills, a major portion of our bills is fuel purchase, natural gas, right? So I know a lot of people were talking before about our bills and so forth. I'm like, hey, look, natural gas prices, that's so we've been heavy. 70% or so of our electrical generation is based on our natural gas plants, right? So as those natural gas prices increase or decrease, so do our bills to a large extent. So this year, we've actually had 3 price reductions based on the natural gas prices coming down. So hopefully that will continue into the future. But if tomorrow we were to be all on solar or nuclear, you can imagine that gas portion of your bill would not be there, right? So you're talking about significant financial savings in the future, as well as just more rate stability. So you won't have this kind of up and down based on natural gas prices. And then certainly just having a cleaner profile is attractive for everyone, particularly with Florida being a tourist heavy driven state. So it leans into the economy as well for Florida and South Florida in particular.
All right. Well, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
those solar panels
definitely.
My bill.
We're looking forward to it. I mean, I would add that part of it is to the footprint for solar. It takes a lot of land and there's not as much land, particularly here in South Florida. So what we're doing is working on transitioning our natural gas plants over into hydrogen and other technologies that are completely clean so that we can utilize the infrastructure that we already have, but not be reliant on natural gas to power those facilities as well. So there's a lot of exciting things happening there, along with the continuation of our energy generation at Turkey Point, a little further south from us, which has been rocking and rolling with clean energy since 73 and 74, as long as I've been on this earth as well. So we're excited about the nuclear future, the future of our solar, as well as just our broad clean energy profile.
What is going on at Turkey Point? Tell us about that.
Oh, Turkey Point's been great. So we are in the process of getting an extension of our license to operate an additional 20 years. So we're looking forward to closing the loop on that process. Recently, in recent years, we've had record numbers of American crocodiles being born there, right? Because they've been on the endangered species list. And I think really in part of the effort that we've done there in our environmental team down there in creating an environment where they can grow, we've been able to play a role in having them removed from the endangered species list and backing them down off of that characterization because of the tremendous growth that we've had there. So it's a great experience to go on an airboat and to see not just the crocodiles. You can't say gators because they are American crocodiles, but to see them in their natural environment. If you're there on a lucky day, you can hold some of those small critters in your hand.
That's not going to happen.
Come on, Tiffany. They don't bite. They don't bite. They're great. I'm going to make it my life's mission to get you down there one day. It's great for the Instagram, at least, to take a picture and you'll get a lot of likes like that. But turkey points are great.
That happens after you come and hold my dog Hulk.
Oh, I'm not holding the dog.
I knew it.
You win. You win.
All right. No deal.
Gotcha.
So I imagine you talked a little bit about infrastructure. You have to deal with a booming population, right?
Mm-hmm.
How is FP&L adjusting with everybody moving here now?
Yeah, it takes a lot of planning to plan for future growth. As a matter of fact, I did a presentation in my job the other day, and I realized that since 2020, Miami-Dade County has actually had a decrease in population of about 83,000 people. But you have hot pockets like the city of Miami that have seen an increase, right? So you have large, billion-dollar plus developments that are happening in and around the Wynwood design district area, closer to downtown as well, where people want to move to. So that takes a lot of foreplanning because some of those developments require perhaps addition of another substation, right, to bring power from Turkey Point and other areas, and to just have enough infrastructure that can handle it. So if you think about a city or an area that was designed for, let's say, 10,000 people, if you think about it from a water or wastewater standpoint, the pipes are only so big, right? So if you're going to add double, triple the amount of people there, you need to change those pipes, bring in more water, get rid of more wastewater. To some extent, it's the same philosophy with electricity, right? You need to be able to bring in that power. So there are a lot of projects around where we are bringing in that heavy power into these quickly growing areas in Miami-Dade, Miami Beach as well to a large extent. So, we're looking 10, 15, 20 years down the road with a lot of our projects.
So I've been in Miami for 17 years and I'm still continually amazed at how fast, FP&L gets things back online after storms here.
Right.
It's not that way in other parts of the country. And this is like Hurricane Alley, right?
Yeah. I'm glad you say that. Where did you move here from?
I've been all over.
You've been all over.
I used to be a reporter. I worked in Ohio. I worked in Charlotte. I'm from Chicago.
Right.
D.C.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think a lot of people that live in other areas and then move down here have probably a better appreciation. Sure. I think we've been a little spoiled as Floridians, down here in terms of how FPL has responds, I should say, to storms, and that has gotten much better. We've gotten much better at it over the last, let's say, 30 years. If you could think back to Hurricane Andrew and the amount of devastation that happened, and the response that it took, the time that it took to get people back online, right, to really rebuild the electrical infrastructure in a lot of South Miami-Dade. So,
that's crazy.
We've invested billions of dollars to replace and upgrade the infrastructure so that now you see these larger poles and they're concrete. They can withstand the same winds and rain and so forth that we had in that major hurricane. So yes, our response time is quicker because we don't have a lot of snapped poles. So now it's just more a tree has taken down a line. We can replace that line much quicker than we can replace the pole. In addition, in terms of leveraging AI And drone technology, you know, my son, he wants to, you know, we got him a drone. He wants to do this and that. I'm like, oh, if things don't work out, we can get him a job at FPL, right? Because we utilize drones. So if you think about if there's a major storm like how we had just a couple of weeks ago, right? That storm kind of crept up on us as a South Florida community. And if there are a lot of outages, you want to see where the outages are, what's impacted the line. So generally, historically, back in our days, we would have to have a crew get out, drive to a spot, get out and actually walk and see if there's a tree on something before they power the line back up, just to make sure people are safe. So now you can just fly a drone much quicker than somebody could walk that line and get a bird's eye view. And they have heat sensors and AI is incorporated into that. So it really cuts down the time it takes to restore power just by leveraging drone technology. So that's been a great benefit.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's safe. It's safer for our line personnel that have to go out there, and it's you know, the benefit of time as well. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I think a lot of us don't really realize how much FP&L gives back to the community. There's a whole philanthropic portion of the company. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Now that's really the fun stuff, right? Because look, it's all fun. I love talking with. Let me back up. In my role, I engage with elected officials. I engage with organizations like the Chamber South. And then the other part of my responsibility is to really seek opportunities to partner with nonprofit organizations that are really doing the work in the community. And we're able to do that through, you know, we could be buying a table at a fundraising gala to other direct donations. We certainly like to support educational initiatives, STEM programs that kind of aligns with what we do as a tech company, because we view ourselves as a tech company that delivers power, right? Because we're so technologically driven. But I remember one time we took a bunch of kids to a basketball game at the what do they call it now? I don't know what it's called today. Kaseya Center.
It's hard for me to get that out of my mouth too.
It's going to say the Miami Heat Arena. And this one kid came up to me and almost with tears in his eyes, almost brought me tears when he says, "This is the best night of my life." Just from going to a basketball game, you know, where a lot of people go, 20,000 people go all the time, right? So that was moving. We're actually taking a group tomorrow as well. I can't go, but a group will be using our seats there tomorrow, another young basketball team. And I talked with those guys yesterday, and I think out of 12 kids, I think only 2 or 3 of them had ever been to a game. So I love doing those types of things and giving back in that way. So that's probably the best part of that philanthropic portion. And certainly we sponsor robotics teams throughout the area. We've recently closed our application timing for a $50,000 STEM room upgrade challenge, right? So we accepted applications from schools around Miami-Dade County, throughout our whole state, but Miami-Dade County, we're going to identify one of those schools, actually 5 schools throughout our territory, that will receive a $50,000 room makeover grant. So to support their STEM robotics and initiatives. So we're excited about being able to invest in the future. Hopefully some of those kids, if they're listening, they're watching out there, hopefully you'll consider a job with FPL in the future, right? So because we're always hiring, right? We try to hire locally and so forth.
I can't even imagine how big of a company FP&L is. Can you give us an idea? How many employees do you have?
FPL, I think we're around 8,000 or 9,000.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, we cover a wide footprint in the state, probably almost half of the state from a footprint perspective. FPL started right here, the campus I work from, and on Lejeune and Flagler. That was the original headquarters. I'm born and bred here almost 100 years ago. And we still have probably, I don't know, 1,000, 1,200 or so that work out of that building right now. So Miami's always been a major part of what we do for Florida Power & Light.
That's cool. So Baldwin, tell us about yourself and how you came to be in this role. Tell us about your family. We'd love to know more about you.
I'm from Miami. I grew up in Miami. From New York originally, but came down here when I was 7 years old. So when I say I'm from Brooklyn, my wife gets mad. She says, please put the Brooklyn thing aside. You're not from Brooklyn. You're from Miami. So I grew up in Miami, went to FIU for undergrad, studied business, and went away to law school in Texas and practiced there for a while. And a friend of mine who was a state representative here, we both went to the same school, high school. He was getting appointed by Governor Christ at the time to be on the Public Service Commission that regulates utilities. And he asked me to be his chief of staff at that moment in time. I had no idea what he was talking about. I'm Googling Public Service Commission while we're on the phone because I don't know what he's referring to. Long story short, I agreed to come. But that was Tallahassee. I said, I'll go there for a year or so and help him out. That turned into 7 years. Kind of fell in love with the industry and the process and Florida politics and so forth. And when that time ended, after he had been placed on the commission a couple of times, we decided we got an offer from FPL and moved back to home. My parents are here. My wife is from Miami as well, and we had little kids at the time. So now that they've grown up, we've been able to benefit from being close to family. I have a son, he's a senior, a daughter is 10th grade. He wants to be an engineer. She wants to be a doctor, I think. So we'll see how it goes. But life is good. And, we've definitely been blessed.
Awesome. And FPL is blessed to have you as a spokesperson and all the things that you do in the community. You're a great representative of them.
Well, I appreciate that. Using that word great again, and
great.
Family
great
keeps you
Baldwin
humble. Family keeps you humble. I'll tell you that.
Anything I haven't asked you that you want to add? That people should know?
We're Chamber South. I would say from a business perspective that, if there is a business out there that has questions about opportunities where they can potentially save, fpl.com/business is a great resource for them. We have been very intentional in partnering with our developers to provide solutions for them to be able to develop their projects quickly and seamlessly. So through that portal as well, you can get some help in being able to get questions answered and get clarity on the process and getting us involved early. When you're designing your facility,
sure,
get FPL involved early. And in addition, I would say for our residential customers, fpl.com/help. For those that may need assistance, we talked about the bills being high and natural gas prices and so forth. There is literally millions of dollars out there from federal resources that are directed through local nonprofits, as well as our shareholders and employees also give to funds that we administer locally for people that have, experienced financial challenges. So fpl.com/help is a great resource that I would encourage everyone to go to visit should they find themselves in a position where they need some assistance.
Super. Good information.
Great.
Thank you, Baldwin. Baldwin English from FPL. And thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Chamber South Spotlight. Before we go, I want to remind you that Chamber South is an awesome organization. Come out to our networkers. You can mix and mingle with folks like Baldwin and many other leaders in our community. It's really a wonderful opportunity to meet some great people. Take